right, so we will go ahead and get started. We do have a pretty small group today, so if at any point, again, if you have a question, you throw it in the chat, I'll definitely be able to answer everyone's questions. To begin, let's talk a little bit about what Zotero is in case you're not already familiar with it. It is a reference management app that will store your references, but it also formats citations in your papers, and you can attach additional documents to every reference in your library. So it can be a way to completely organize any sort of research project that you're working on. It syncs in the cloud so that you can access your collections from any computer. It's free to sign up, and it comes with 300 megabytes of free cloud storage. If you run out of cloud storage, it will prompt you to pay money for more. Don't do that. If you do run out of storage, get in touch with us, and we will take care of getting more storage for you. So that's an important thing to remember. How does it work? So I'm going to kind of go through the steps of everything that it does, and then I'll actually show you how that works in Zotero. So basically you begin by importing references from the databases, websites, or manually adding them into Zotero. Once you've done that, you can attach files like PDFs or notes to each reference. Those references can be sorted into collections, also known as folders. And you can also use the tagging system as another way to organize the things in Zotero in addition to collections. Once you have some things in Zotero, you can start generating formatted bibliographies, or you can use the plugin for Word and Google Docs to add references to your paper as you go. It also has the capability of setting up groups in Zotero so that you can work with a group on a class project or a research project and be able to share both references and full text PDFs with your team members. So now let's start with a tour of the desktop interface. So I mentioned at the beginning on the slide, you want to download the desktop client. It might look a little like this. So I'm currently on a Mac. If you are on a PC, it may look a little bit different, but essentially they look the same. On the left-hand side here, you have all of your collections or folders where you store everything, plus any groups that you create will also be on the left-hand side here. In the middle, you have your actual references that you've stored in Zotero. So right now I'm in one collection, so it's showing me only the references that are sorted into that collection. But if I click the overall My Library, it will show me everything that I have in Zotero regardless of collection. You also have, let's see, just need to move the thing, okay. You also have some functions up here in the middle above your references. These are for mostly for adding things into Zotero and attaching files to those things that are in Zotero. And then over on the right-hand side, when you click on one of your references, all the information about that reference that you have stored will show up here on the right, along with any notes that you've attached to it, any tags that you've added, and anything that you can add related articles, those will also be on here. The center section currently is being sorted by author, but if I click any of these other details, I can change the sort order according to title or the year of publication. If there's a field of information that I would like to show up here in the center, I can click this tiny little box here in the corner, and it gives you some more options for data to show up in the center section here. All right, so that's kind of the brief tour of the interface. Let me go back to my slides for a second. Yeah. All right, so when you create an account and download the desktop client to your computer, you are not automatically logged in yet. You actually have to take an extra step to log into the desktop program in order to set up syncing. Once you've done this, you'll be able to access Zotero from from this computer that you're logged into, and it will sync with the cloud. And so then if you log into Zotero in a web browser, you'll be able to see everything there as well. So to do that, on a Mac, it's under Zotero Preferences. I believe on a PC, it's under Edit and Preferences. I can pull that up. If anyone's on a PC and you can't find the preferences, type it in the chat and we will pull up a how-to so that you can do that. But it will open a box and you want to look for the button that says Sync. And currently I'm logged in, so it doesn't have the option, but if you haven't logged in yet, it will have a spot for you to log in with the account that you've just created. Go ahead and do that. And then anything that you add to Zotero from this computer will be synced with the cloud, so that you'll be able to A, access it in the browser, and B, if you download Zotero to another computer and log in there, you'll also be able to access everything there. I know sometimes people use a computer at home and it's different from their work computer. So you can have Zotero on both computers, and as long as you're logged in, it'll sync between them. All right, any questions about that? I'm gonna go ahead and close this and move on to the next one. All right, oh yeah, there it is. So Windows, it's under Edit, Preferences, and Sync as well. And that's where you will find a place to log in with your Zotero account. All right, so now basically to begin, you really need to start importing things. That's the only way you'll be able to use all the other features. So let's go over the different ways to do that. There is a browser plugin called the Zotero connector. This allows you to import directly from databases and websites, and I will show you how that works. You also can simply upload a PDF or link to a PDF already saved onto your computer or Dropbox, and that the Zotero will pull the information about the article or document directly from the PDF. You can add things manually, and I'll show you how to do that. And then there's this little magic wand, which is kind of my favorite part of Zotero, where if you simply type in a DOI or a PubMed ID or the ISBN of a textbook, it pulls the information for that article or that book from the web and will automatically add it into Zotero for you. So let's take a look at each of these import methods. First, let's talk about the connector. So let's see. The connector is not automatically installed when you downloaded the desktop client. You actually have to go to a second page to get this. And basically it's a little browser plugin. So mine says currently install for Firefox because it knows that I'm in a Firefox browser, but you can also do this for Chrome. One disappointing thing is that the connector does not currently work in Safari. It used to, but I guess Apple recently made some changes to the Safari browser, and it sounds like it's not going to be an option anymore. So in order to use this particular method of importing things into Zotero, you are going to have to use Firefox or Chrome. If you are strictly a Safari user and you don't want to mess around with the other two, that's no worries. There are several other ways to import things into Zotero. If you are interested in using the connector, simply go back to the Zotero website, and let's see, from here, you again would click on the download button. And instead of downloading the desktop client on the left, you would choose install the connector. And if you're in Firefox or Chrome, it will bring you to the place where you can install it. So we need to actually see it in action. So I'm going to go to the library website, and we are going to do a quick search in OneSearch so you can see how it works. So let's say I'm working on a project. Flu prevention, hot topic right now. We're going to search for articles on this topic. And of course, we must log in to proxy server. All right, so to find one with PDF. So let's say we are interested in this article right here. I would click on the title to bring me to the record page. And from here, and this will work in any database that looks like OneSearch. So we have a couple of others that all come from the same vendor, like Sinol. If it looks vaguely like this method will work. My Zotero connector is up here in the right-hand corner. It kind of looks like a notebook page. If I click this, and I have to have Zotero open for this to work, and it is open on my computer. So now if I click this, it will automatically detect this information. You can see it's saving it to my library, but I can pick a collection from here if I already have one. Oh, it already went away. But not only did it save it to my library, it also grabbed the PDF because we happen to have this one in full text. So let's go back into Zotero to see where it is. Here, it highlighted it right away to show me what it just added. So a comparative study to assess the effectiveness and so on. So all that information was pulled from OneSearch. And then if I click the little arrow next to it on the left, I can see that the PDF is also attached. And this PDF is saved in the cloud when I use that method. So when I go to open this, it will open it right up for me. And that's from any computer or if I'm in the browser version. All right, so that is one method of adding things to Zotero. That also works on, so if we have an article that we like that OneSearch does not have the PDF, it will also add it. It will just add the information. It won't get the PDF. It also works in Google Scholar. So if you're a Google Scholar user, and it will grab any PDF that it sees here that you want. So from Google Scholar, again, if I click on now my Zotero connector, it looks like a folder. I don't know why it kind of changes shape like that, but it's in the same spot. I can choose from this list which things I actually want to add. And once I have selected them and hit OK, it will grab the record as well as any PDF that Google Scholar has attached to it. The one that it unfortunately doesn't work great with is PubMed. We've noticed that if you go to PubMed and you're searching, just doing your thing in PubMed and you get some results, what Zotero has been doing is it's been adding any of the results not as articles, but as another thing that it calls web pages, like screenshots of web pages. So it's not working great in PubMed. So that's why we have, the other ways of importing, which I'll show you now too. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions. So hopefully everyone is still with me following along. Let's look at adding by just uploading a PDF. So in Zotero, I'm just going to choose, actually, before we do that, let's create a folder so you can see what that looks like. So over here, I keep calling them folders, but they're also called collections. If you want a new one, just hit this little file folder icon, and we're going to call this Zotero Demo. And now I have a new collection here. If you right click, you can add a new sub collection, you can rename that collection, delete it, and so on. So those are all your options for collections. If I want to add something here by uploading a PDF, I just click my little green kind of plus sign button here, and we're gonna say store copy of file. And I'm just gonna grab a PDF from my downloads, this one. And it has pulled it up, and then we just give it a second, and not only does it grab any data attached to the PDF, it also renames that file with the author and the date and the start of the title so that I can, if it's saved on my computer, I can go in and find it to read it. In fact, if I double click on this, it will go ahead and open it up in Adobe Acrobat for me. So that is another way to import items into Zotero. I also mentioned you can add things manually, and that's the same button. So again, you hit the green plus sign for new item. You choose what you're adding from this list, or there's more options under the more on the menu. Let's say we were going to add a journal article. I would simply type in the article title here. Add any, oh, I think, okay, we've got a question to show that one more time. Do you mean the uploading the PDF? Is that what you'd like to see again? Okay, good, glad that worked, okay. All right, so you would just type in article title, click to add authors, and simply click in here to add any information that you have and you want to add, for example, a DOI. This is also how you edit an existing article if you notice that a piece of metadata is incorrect. So if we go back to our previous article, let's say that it missed, or let's say I want to add the abstract, I can just click abstract and copy and paste that abstract into here. But really I can click on any of these fields if I need to edit them. All right, so we've uploaded a PDF, we've used the Zotero connector, we've added something manually. The last thing is the magic wand. So this is a better option for PubMed because you can just add a PubMed ID. So let me go back to my PubMed search real quick. Let's say that, okay, let's say we wanted to add this article here. Every PubMed article has what's called a PubMed ID at the bottom of the abstract. So if I copy this number right here, copy, and I come back to Zotero and hit the little magic wand button that's next to the green add button, paste that PM ID in here, hit enter. And basically Zotero is talking to PubMed and it's grabbing the record for me. It doesn't grab the PDF, but it does grab all of this information here. And then if I went and got the PDF, let's see, do we have that one? So if I click here to go to where to actually get the PDF for this article, it takes me to the full text. I can, and this will look different for every article depending on where we get the full text from. But the goal is to save the PDF to my computer. If it wants to load, let's do basic PDF. Sorry, it's loading just a little bit slowly. Or not at all. I think I broke it. But the goal is to, save the PDF, and then you can go back into Zotero, click on the record that you want to add the PDF to, and then you just hit the little paper clip to attach the PDF. And so in this case, if I want to be able to store it in the cloud and have it sync between my computers, I would just click attach stored copy of file, find that PDF on my computer, and it will attach it to the record. All right, you can also use the magic wand for DOIs, which is the digital object identifier that pretty much all electronic articles have these days. If you aren't familiar with DOIs, shoot me an Ask a Librarian or shoot me an email, and I can send you a resource that kind of explains what DOIs are and where you can find them. All right. So those are the 4 main ways of adding things into Zotero. Whichever way you use, you may have to use a little bit of everything, but I think there's kind of 2 types of people. There's people that really rely on the Zotero connector in their browser to get things into Zotero, and then there's people that really just prefer to download PDFs, save them to their computer, and then upload them into Zotero. And you can upload multiple PDFs at a time if you're someone who does that. So maybe you're kind of looking through your search results, you're kind of in the have a good flow going, so you just want to save things. When you're all done, then you can open up Zotero and upload all the PDFs that you've just saved. It isn't something you have to do as you're picking out articles unless you want to. All right. So the other thing I'd like to show you is adding notes to items. So if you are someone who's going to be using Zotero as kind of like your central research program, any of your records, you have the option to add notes. So I could, like thinking workflow wise, I could open up Zotero, I could open up the Goodyear and Goodyear article, read it, come back to Zotero, click notes over here on the left, add a note, and then just type up my, something about the article, my thoughts, any sort of evaluation of that article that I did, whatever it might be. I can have it right here in Zotero so that when I come back later, my article, my notes, and my ability to cite that article are all in the same place. All right, so I showed you how to make a new collection, but there's a second kind of way to organize things in Zotero, and that is by tagging. So you can actually add tags to any articles or any items in Zotero as another way to kind of find them later. So let's say I wanted to add some tags to this career development for nurse managers article. I would just click tags over here on the right and start adding them. Maybe I want to have a course number as a tag so that I can course number as a tag so that I can find it later. I can have things, all related to a course, even if they aren't organized that way in a folder. So you enter that. Of course, there's topics. I can do topic tags. And then, really anything that you're thinking of, maybe it's something like save for later. It's really totally up to you how you would like to use the tag. So some people like to do collections according to topics and then use the tags for projects. Some people like to do the opposite, make a collection for a specific project and then add tags topically. Once you have added tags, you have a couple of options for finding things later. You can search for a tag up here in your search box. So we can say course number. And so it's showing me that article because it's been tagged with course number. Or there's a separate tag kind of box down here on the left that will show you only tags. And if you use this search box here, you can search just tags and not all the other fields. So it's up to you how you'd like to kind of organize everything in Zotero, but you do have both options, both collections and tagging to keep yourself organized. It's also good to know how to delete things if you don't want things anymore. So for any of these, if I right click on a reference, I can say move item to trash. If I go to delete a collection, you have to choose to delete the collection or delete the collection and the items. So if you want to get rid of both that collection and anything inside of it, you have to choose delete collection and items. If you only delete the collection, it will simply keep the items in the general My Library and not have them assigned to a collection. Zotero also has the ability to check for duplicates. So there's this option down here on the left of My Library. If I hit duplicate items, it'll show you anything that's in here more than once. And then you can decide, of those two, which one would you like to keep them or would you just want to delete them? So in this case, it's offering to have me merge them. And of these two, I have to choose which one is the master item. Well, one of them was saved in January and one of them was saved in September. So I'm going to go with the most recent one as the master item. It will now merge them and it disappears from the screen, but it's still in My Library. Same thing with this one right here. It looks like it's not, they are exactly the same, so I don't have to choose between them, and I can just hit merge and now they will exist as one item instead of two. So that's really great. If, again, if you're doing like a ton of searches and you're not keeping track of duplicates as you're going, Zotero can find them for you. All right, so we have seen how to add things to Zotero. We've seen how to keep them organized. We've seen how to delete things, and we've seen how to search for things and how to check for duplicates. So now we get to the kind of the main reason for even having Zotero in the first place, which is citing. There are several different ways to use Zotero to help you with your citations. I'm going to go into one of my folders. So let's say I've been working on a project. I've used all of these sources, and I want to just quickly create a bibliography to copy and paste somewhere. So I can highlight one or all of the references that I need to put into my bibliography. If I right click, I can choose Create Bibliography from Items. I can choose a citation style. So in this case, I'm going to go with APA 6, but there's a ton more styles to choose from. There's some here, and you can add more styles if you go into Manage Styles. Output mode, I would like it to be a bibliography. And in this case, I'm just going to copy to clipboard, but you can also save as what's called an RTF, which is a really basic document that you can open up in Word or another word processor. But I found that copy to clipboard is for me the best way to do this. So, and then I hit OK. And then I just immediately go into whatever program I use to create documents, whether it's Word or Google Docs or something else, and I just paste it in there. Oh, sorry, my Word has track changes on, so let me do it without the, okay. Paste it in there. Which is really nice. That saves you a lot of time. Couple of things to note though. For in APA, links are not supposed to be embedded like this. So for each of these, I am gonna have to right click, go to hyperlink, and just say remove hyperlink. It is supposed to be plain text. It's not working. Oh, that's weird. Hold on. So it's removing the hyperlinks, but it's not fixing that format. So I'm just gonna select all, go back to home, and we're gonna just fix the formatting real quick. So automatic, turn off the underline. There we go. All right. So it's supposed to look like this. So you will have to go in and change that. The other thing that Zotero and pretty much every citation management program I've used has had this problem, is capitalization of titles. So if you're familiar with APA, then you know that article titles are supposed to be in sentence case, which means that only the first word after a colon, and any proper nouns are supposed to be capitalized, and everything else is supposed to be lowercase. And Zotero is not able to make that distinction. So you do have to go in and fix the uppercases that don't belong there and turn them into lowercase words. It also doesn't understand like proper nouns, so it won't automatically capitalize a proper noun if it's supposed to be and everything else is in sentence case. Because you'll notice that this one printed out fine, and that's because in Zotero, that's what the record is, that's what the data is in Zotero. So let's see, just to show you, this is relying on procedural memory. So that's this reference right here. You can see that the title in Zotero is the correct case, which is why it generated correctly when we created the bibliography, whereas the other one was smartphone based. So this one you can see is in here, the record has it in all caps like that. So if I change this here, it will print out correctly from now on for APA. But if you're using a different style than APA, where it has different rules about uppercase and lowercase for article titles, it may not work for that. So that's just the two things that you have to look out for in Zotero, is making sure that links are removed so that it's just plain text, and checking on the capitalization of article titles. All right, and so that's how you kind of generate a quick bibliography from Zotero, but you can also install a Word plugin that will add things as you're typing your paper. So let's go ahead and close this one and do a new document. So the Zotero plugin is supposed to install automatically when you save Zotero to your computer. If you have installed Zotero but you're not seeing the Zotero plugin in Word, let me know and I will make sure that you get the support documentation that shows you how to install it. But once it's there, basically, you start writing your paper. Sorry. Start writing your paper, and I'm ready to insert a citation. So I click my Zotero on the ribbon there, click this little add edit citation button. The first time you do this, you'll have to choose the style that you want, but then it should stick with that for your entire paper. And then this little search box appears with the red border, and you literally just start searching for whatever article it is that you're looking for. So you can start typing the title, the author, the journal, whatever you remember about it, start typing it and it will show you some search results. And then you can choose it from the list and it stays here in this search bar. If there's other articles that you want in the same set of parentheses or the same parenthetical citation, you can keep searching and add some more. And it changes the order based on the author's last name. Again, this is APA specifically, so it may look a little different for other styles. If I needed to edit any of these before I put them in the paper, I could just click directly on them and it gives me some options like adding page numbers or adding any information before the author name, any information after the dates. Or I can completely suppress the author and put in only the year. But for now, I'm gonna put in these two. So I just hit enter and it went ahead and added them to Word for me. So let's say that I have finished my paper, so I'm ready to put in my bibliography. I can now click add edit bibliography and it goes through and it looks at what we have added to our citations, and then it generates the bibliography. And so in this case, when I did it this way, it didn't put links in the section that has the DOI, so that's good. But again, you would still want to look out for that title uppercase, lowercase issue. And you can see that it did do the et al correctly. So again, if you're familiar with APA, you know that if there's more than 5 authors, so if there's 6 or more authors, you use et al right away. And that is the case for these 2 articles here. So it did do that correctly, which is nice. If I needed to edit any of these, I would actually go into Zotero and make the changes to the record in Zotero, again, by clicking in here to change them. And then if I hit my little sync button here, this little green sync button, it will update in my Word paper as well. All right, so I'm having someone is not showing up in Word. So let's pull up, in case this is happening to anyone else, let's show where to do that. So I do know that if you're on a Mac and you go to Tools and Add-ons, then Plugins, Extensions, it'll show you 2 options. You can click to enable Zotero Word for Mac. So mine is already enabled, so I don't need to click that. But if I didn't want it anymore, I would just click disable. There is this program called LibreOffice, which is an open source word processor that some people have. So you can also add that as a plugin. If you are on Windows, however, let's see, Zotero Word plugin Windows. So if it says you can reinstall the plugins later from Sites, word processor plugins pane of Zotero preferences. So on Windows, you have to go to Edit, Preferences, Site, and it will give you the option to install the plugins. But I will get in touch with you to make sure that you're able to set it up if this explanation is not helpful. All right, so going back into Word, the last thing you want to do if you are using Zotero to format your papers is you want to, so notice that when I click on my bibliography, this turns gray. That means that there's some stuff happening behind the scenes there because of the program. And so if I were to send this document to somebody else, if they have Zotero installed or they have a different reference manager installed, things can get kind of ugly. So what you want to do is you want to create a version of your document that is completely plain text so that it won't interfere with anyone else who might open that document, especially if you're doing a paper for class and you know that your professor is going to be opening it up to read it. You want to make sure you send them a plain text document. So there is a way to do that. Basically, you just hit this Unlink Citations button and everything, maybe I have to select all, Unlink Citations. Here it is, okay. So this little box should show up, removing field codes will prevent Zotero from updating citations and bibliographies in this document. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes. And now my entire paper is in plain text. You can see clicking on this, it hasn't turned gray. Of course, the only downside is that if I needed to make changes later, I wouldn't be able to do that anymore. So always save 2 versions of your paper. Save a version that still has all the Zotero stuff so that you can make edits, and then save a version to send to somebody else after you've clicked Unlink Citations. So just in case, if you're doing kind of a back and forth with them and they make suggestions for edits, you read their suggestions in the plain text version that you sent to them, and then you go back into your version with the Zotero code still there so that you can make edits and update it. All right, so if there are no questions about that, the last thing I want to share with you is groups, because I know a lot of people work on group projects for class, or they might work with a team for doing research. So we're going to look at how to set those up. All right, keep throwing your questions in there if you have them. So in Zotero, my group libraries are underneath my central library. So I have 3 different group libraries happening here. To create a group, I actually can't create it in the desktop version. I have to do it on the website. So let's look at how to do that. I need to log in. So if you go to Zoteroorg, the website, and you log in with your account, couple of things. So I can see my library from here. So everything that I have saved in my desktop version is also here in my online library. You can see all my collections are here, all my tags are here, all my documents are here. So this is nice if you're someone who travels a lot, or works back and forth between work and a home office, whatever it might be. You will be able to get your Zotero records and any PDFs that you have saved in the cloud from any computer, essentially, which is nice. I also have the ability to set up groups. So if I hit groups on the top nav bar here, you can see that my groups that I already have, but I can also create a new group, give it a name. If this is going to be a group where it's going to be really small, you want to share PDFs with everyone, you're going to want to choose private membership. But if you're just going to be sharing references and there's no need to share PDFs, you have a couple of other options. You can do a public open membership group. So this is nice. A lot of people use these for like kind kind of just their interests. So, you know, we could have a virtual reality group that anyone could join, and anyone could add references that they thought other people might be interested in. This is a public one with closed membership. So this is a group that anyone can view, but only people who are invited can be members of. So that's, you can do some interesting things with that as well. But I think for the most part, everyone will be using private membership groups. These are great for small teams, whether that's a class assignment or some sort of research group that you have. Create group. And so this is just the settings. We're going to leave this alone, but we want to add some members. So I might click member settings, and here I could send invitations by putting in the emails of the people that I want to invite to the group. And then the last thing with groups is the library settings, so again, we're going to keep it private. And then it just gives permissions. So who can read the library, who can edit the library, and who can edit files. So that's good if you are, you know, if you're a professor and you're setting up a group for a group of students and you are adding things and you want to be able to edit things, but you know, you just want them to be able to read things, you can play with the settings to get the level of access that you prefer. Now, if I go back into Zotero, if I hit my sync button here, you can see that the demo group I just created is now here. And so even though I had to create the group on the website, I can now add things into this group from my desktop client. So if I just highlight some, click them and drag them to the demo group, now those references are in the demo group, or I can upload things directly, or import them directly using all the methods that we talked about earlier. All right, so let's go back to Firefox. All right, so that is really everything that I have to show you. This is a little bit different from an in-person workshop where I unfortunately can't help you one-on-one to get everything set up. So we can do that in the future if you'd like to set up a one-on-one consultation, or we do have another in-person workshop happening on Monday, October 28th, also at noon. So you're welcome to sign up for that if you're able to come to campus. Zotero also has a great support site with tons of documentation that just lays out a step-by-step how to do the essential things that we kind of talked about today. So feel free to refer back to that if that's helpful for you. And if you have time and you want to give me some feedback about this webinar, I would really appreciate it. This is the first time that we've really done anything like this, so your feedback would be invaluable to me to kind of help me improve it for next time. So you are not able to click on these links, so let me go ahead and I think that I can I? Let's see, I can copy and paste them into the chat. So those are all the links that are just on that slide. What other questions do people have? I'll hang out for, until 1 o'clock if you have more questions. But if you don't, thanks so much for joining us today. And you can always get in touch if you have questions later, just library.mghihp.edu/ask, and that has all of the ways that you can get in touch with us. All right, thank you, everybody.